Hello, my name is Alfredo. Welcome to my piano spacetime. In this video you will find a bit of discussion about the prelude and fugue in B flat major from the book 1 of Well Tempered Clavier from Johann Sebastian Bach. To start this discussion, I think we shall say that once upon a time there was a young, talented musician in the center of Germany, and he was about 18 years old, and he was appointed to become the organist of the new church in the town of Arnstadt. He had been invited already to perform at the inauguration of the new organ of the church. In fact, our young, very talented musician organist had already quite a significant reputation in the area for being a virtuoso at the keyboard and in particular with the organ. He received a nice employment with a decent pay, and he was having a music enthusiast employing authority. Despite this, it seems that his relationship with his authorities was not always so smooth. However, at a certain point, our young Johann Sebastian managed to receive the permission to take a leave that would last 4 weeks, and he wanted to use this time to travel to northern Germany, to the city of Lübeck. And for what we read, he did travel up to there on foot, walking for about 280 miles. The purpose of the trip was to meet two of the most famous musicians of Germany at the time. One was the great fugue master Johann Adam Reinke, and the other was another extraordinary musician organist. His name is Dietrich Buxtehude. Eventually, Johann Sebastian will stay in Lübeck not 4 weeks, but 4 months. So we can imagine what kind of welcome back home he received from his employing authorities upon returning home. And his work assignment will not last that long after this. And for what we read, it seems that certain kind of complaints were sent more and more often to the church authorities regarding this young, exuberant organist that would introduce certain confusing and perhaps bizarre ornamentations in between hymns and sacred songs. And it seems that there were a few people that they kind of didn't like that. But let's step back for a second and let's spend a few minutes regarding this person of Dietrich Buxtehude. Buxtehude was in particular a master in exploiting one particular compositional style at the time that is called Stylus Phantasticus. That means fantastic style. For what I know, Stylus Phantasticus is not an invention of Buxtehude, of course. It's not even something that was born in Germany in that era specifically, but the roots of this compositional style seems to go back in time before those years of 17th century and outside Germany. However, Buxtehude would become a true master in this. And what is this Stylus Phantasticus? As far as I know, I believe the best way to understand that is to go and search for those extended pieces that are generally titled toccata or preludium. And what you will see, what you will hear, what you will find is that these toccatas and preludium are typically made in this way. They start with a section, an episode that is kind of very free, sometimes with virtuoso style figurations without a clear, definite form. in which freedom and fantasy are dominating this scene. And then at a certain point, it enters something more orderly, a fugue, or however, a section with a fugue-like style of composing. And then again, after the fugue, it comes back, typically an episode with that freedom, that improvisational character, and then very often another fugue will start, and then again the free episode will come back. Sometimes you find 3 fugues with in between all these freedom episodes. And Buxtehude also, when you go to hear some of his pieces, you will find that he liked really to be exciting with this. So very typically you hear quick figurations that are flying on the keyboard, and then abruptly they stop in silence for a few moments. And you can imagine people there listening, they were following all these nice things, and all of a sudden a stop. What is it? So real musical cliffhangers. And always very typical, after these few moments of silence, he liked to put a profound note taken by the pedal in the organ. And the organs in Germany at that time were already equipped with powerful, profound sounds. In the pedal set of stops, they had what is called posaune. That is a very profound sound, especially when it is paired with the rest of mighty sounds that those organs was having. Organs that in 17th century were displaying often 3 keyboards, sometimes even 4. So these organists enjoyed, creating questions and answers, echoes, contrasts, and going from very delicate sonorities to very mighty and powerful plain sonorities, inserting all the stops of the organ. I believe that if you have a look at the music score, or if you have in mind our prelude in B flat major, I think that is clearly inheriting this kind of style of character from Buxtehude's work, and in any case from the fantastic style that was so much appreciated at the time. And of course, this is not the only example of pieces written by Bach where we find used this kind of compositional approach. Just think about the toccata in D minor, and I believe we have another real example of the influence that this kind of style had on the young Bach. And there are several other works of especially his young period for organ, but also some of the toccatas for harpsichord are actually written with that style that I presented of alternation between free, sometimes even recitativo-like episodes with fugues and counterpoint style episodes. After saying this, I want to highlight another aspect that is very peculiar in this prelude. But I think that now is the time to go at the piano, because that will help me to present, I hope, a bit convincingly my ideas about this piece. The second aspect I want to highlight about this prelude is something that is very apparent in front of our eyes. Now, we can certainly say that each one of the 48 preludes and fugues of the Well Tempered Clavier are, each of them is on its own a peculiar masterpiece. And this is a cliché, though it is perfectly a true statement. The point is that here we are in front of, I believe, an additional layer of peculiarity together with the inherent, unique character of the piece. And this peculiarity is that if you have a quick review, I believe, unless I missed something, this is the only piece in the Well Tempered Clavier, this prelude, that is written with the main musical line that is in 30 seconds. Yes, you might say that in the first two lines, these 30 seconds are not really the main musical line. I can agree with that, but they will become soon that, and before reaching that point, that will be carried on for a large part of the piece. However, they will quickly become an important integral part in the musical material, whereas I agree that in the very first few bars they are more of a feeling rather than the leading line, but this will not go on for the piece. Yes, you find here and there moments in the Well Tempered Clavier that are written in 30 seconds, but are always ornaments or feelings, like, just to give an example, this figuration is in 30 seconds, but these notes are ornamentations. This would be, this is not, you know, the core of the talk, of the message, of the music, that instead is here in the 30 seconds at a certain point. And the question I like to ask myself is, why is that? And that out of 48 preludes, here Bach decides to write in 30 seconds. Maybe he did that by chance, I have no idea, but you know, as a passionate musician, I like to find, how to say, more tasty answers to these nice questions. And so, could it be that Bach had in mind that he wanted, that he used 30 seconds to tell you to be fast? It doesn't satisfy me, these answers, because, I mean, let's explore a few examples in the Well Tempered Clavier. Let's take this is the E minor, the D minor of the second book, right? I believe it's a fast piece and is not written in 30 seconds. Or C sharp major, or these are all examples of pieces that I believe can be played very fast, depending on the taste, a bit slower, but they are allegro-like pieces, and they are not written in 30 seconds. So I'm not satisfied in saying that Bach wanted us to be fast here. And so my suggestion is that there is another reason, and I will offer a few hints regarding what this reason could be. And to do that, let's scout around for a few minutes only in the Bach's repertoire for keyboard, and maybe this time we'll scout a bit around in organ, because I think is very evident over there, although you find similar things even in pieces in the harpsichord's repertoire. We'll take our first example, none less than in the super famous toccata in D minor, right? So the one that starts with, yes, right here we don't have 30 seconds, this is written in 64ths, but later when we go across the score, for instance here, these are 30 seconds, or let's go to find some other examples. Let's take the toccata in C major, the one that comes with the adagio and the fugue. Do you have it in mind? give another example. Let's take the great Fantasy in G minor. You find a nice rendition by Franz Liszt, who rearranged it for the piano. That is not what I have in front. I will do a bit of mess here, however. And the last one I'll give you is the Fantasia in A minor. This is for harpsichords as far as I know. This whole section is in 30 seconds, even when it goes down. So what is it that have in common these episodes? If you listen around to current reputable performance, normally you will realize that these sections are not played at the metronome, but there are those kind of rallentato and rubato. So it's not like at least according to my taste. So I gave you my personal answer. Bach uses the 30 seconds when he wants to express his freedom. The 30 seconds in his writing are the sign of freedom. And I believe that even in our prelude, injecting freedom, especially in the more or less second page onward, is something that gives a very special taste, right? This is so beautiful, at least for me. And yeah, this was my personal tip regarding what would be behind this choice of using the 30 seconds. And the very third quick note before going to something practical is, well, if you think for a bit at this music score, you will realize that the concept is the same that Bach uses for those violin solo episodes, right? It could be played, probably, it could be thought more than played by a string. Of course, there is no string with the extension that you need to cover all the notes, but the spirit, the concept of this writing is that concept where the polyphony is disguised in monophony and vice versa. There is monophony that is disguised in polyphony, right? quavers and 30 seconds actually could be played in a way as a sequence of notes one after the other, as it happens with the violin when there are those nice virtuoso figurations, and at times with the violin it's possible to play certain chords, certain harmonic intervals, and it is more or less what then it will happen later when there are this section. This string like basic conception of the language, and this, by the way, will go on with the fugue, because the character of the fugue is also, in my opinion, very evidently the one of a string concerto fugue finale. You can say whatever you want, more than a keyboard style character. I think this happens very, very often in the fugues of the Well Tempered Clavier, and also around the Baroque repertoire for keyboard music. I think my general introduction reached the end, except that I didn't say anything about the fugue, but simply because the fugue is the fugue. It's the fugue with a nice, joyful theme. As always, I believe you can choose your own tempo, your own spirit. It can be rendered in thousands different ways, maybe more joking. Even perhaps more relaxed. Or more vivace, if you like Vivaldi style allegro. It's up to you, so I believe it doesn't reserve any particular considerations. Thank you for staying with me so far, and I will now dedicate some time to present a few tips that perhaps might be of use in case you want to study this piece. And perhaps it is necessary for me to put a very strong disclaimer here, in case you are here preparing for a music school examination or a competition. Please go away, stay away from this channel, because what you find here is just my own personal thoughts, and if you need to prepare for those things, stick with what your teacher is telling you to do with this particular piece. And however, I am here to enjoy my time with piano and music, and I hope that for some of you this might be of some help and pleasure.